In the autumn of 9 AD, deep in the shadowy forests of what is now modern Germany, a pivotal moment in European history was about to unfold. The air was thick with mist, and the towering trees concealed the movements of thousands of men preparing for battle. Here, the mighty Roman Empire, at the height of its power, suffered one of its most catastrophic defeats, the infamous Battle of Teutoburg Forest. The Romans, confident in their military superiority, marched deep into unfamiliar territory, unaware of the danger that awaited them. In a devastating ambush orchestrated by a coalition of Germanic tribes, 3 entire Roman legions were annihilated. The surprise attack was swift and brutal, leaving the Roman forces in chaos and forever halting Rome's ambitions to expand east of the Rhine River. For centuries, the exact location of this legendary battle remained a mystery, lost to the mists of time. It was only through painstaking archaeological discoveries at Calcrease Hill that the true site of Rome's disaster was finally revealed, shedding new light on this turning point in history. The loss of the 17th, 18th, and 19th legions sent shockwaves through the Roman world, plunging the empire into mourning and disbelief. The news of the defeat spread quickly, shaking the very foundations of Roman confidence. Emperor Augustus himself was said to be inconsolable, famously crying out in anguish, "Varus, give me back my legions." His grief reflected the magnitude of the disaster and the sense of loss felt throughout Rome. This crushing defeat became a powerful symbol of Germanic resistance, inspiring generations to come. It marked a defining moment in the cultural divide between Roman civilization and the peoples of Germania, shaping the destiny of Europe. The frontier established in the aftermath of this battle would stand for centuries, serving as a boundary that influenced the course of European history and the identities of nations on both sides of the Rhine. At the start of the 1st century, Rome stood as the unrivaled superpower of the ancient world, its legions feared and respected across continents. Driven by ambition, the empire pushed relentlessly to conquer Magna Germania, the vast, mysterious lands stretching between the Rhine and Elbe rivers, territory that had long resisted Roman control. Publius Quinctilius Varus, Rome's appointed governor, enforced strict laws and heavy taxes, imposing a harsh rule that bred deep resentment and unrest among the fiercely independent Germanic tribes. Among them was Arminius, a Cherusci prince who had been taken to Rome as a child, raised in the heart of the empire, and trained as a Roman officer, yet he never forgot his true heritage. Trusted completely by Varus, Arminius used his unique position and insider knowledge to quietly orchestrate a rebellion from within, all while maintaining the facade of loyalty. He skillfully convinced Varus to rely on him, even as he forged secret alliances among the Cherusci, Marsi, Chatti, and other tribes, uniting old rivals against their common enemy. Living a dangerous double life, Arminius set the stage for a massive uprising, carefully planning every move while hiding his true intentions from the Romans. Varus, completely blind to the looming betrayal, would soon lead his confident legions deep into the dense, unfamiliar forests of Germania, straight into a deadly trap. This misplaced trust in Arminius would not only doom Varus and his men, but would also seal Rome's fate in Germania, echoing through history as one of the empire's greatest defeats. Arminius' strategy was simple: lure the Romans into the dense Teutoburg Forest where their tactics would fail. He reported a fake tribal revolt, persuading Varus to divert his army into the woods. The Roman column, stretched thin and burdened by baggage, entered a narrow, muddy path flanked by forest and swamp. Hidden Germanic warriors prepared an ambush behind an earthen rampart. Arminius, under the guise of gathering allies, slipped away to join his waiting forces. The Romans, trusting their guide, marched straight into the trap. Rain and rough terrain left them isolated, vulnerable, and unaware of the disaster ahead. As a violent storm raged overhead, Germanic warriors emerged from the shadowy woods, launching a sudden and devastating ambush on the unsuspecting Roman column. Lightning flashed through the trees as chaos erupted, and the Romans found themselves surrounded by enemies they could barely see. The Romans, unable to form their famous defensive lines in the tangled, rain-soaked forest, were cut down in a brutal 3-day running battle. The terrain favored the Germanic tribes, who struck swiftly and then melted back into the trees, leaving the Romans disoriented and vulnerable. Guerrilla tactics and relentless attacks shattered Roman discipline. The forest became a killing ground, where order dissolved into terror. The legionnaires trained for open-field combat were overwhelmed by the hit-and-run assaults and the constant threat lurking in the shadows. Varus, desperate to save his men, ordered the baggage burned to lighten their load and attempted a breakout. But the retreat quickly collapsed into panic and confusion. As the Romans struggled to escape the relentless onslaught, surrounded on all sides and utterly exhausted, Varus and his officers, seeing no hope of rescue or escape, chose suicide over the humiliation of capture by their enemies. The remaining Romans were mercilessly slaughtered. Only a handful managed to slip away through the dense forest to tell the tale of the disaster that had befallen the legions. The legions were annihilated, their golden eagles, the proud standards of Rome, lost to the enemy, a symbol of utter defeat. The news sent shockwaves through Rome, plunging the city into mourning. The empire reeled from the catastrophe, its leaders and citizens alike gripped by fear and disbelief. The Teutoburg Forest became a graveyard for Rome's ambitions, its dark woods forever haunted by the memory of the fallen legions. The Germanic victory would echo through history, marking a turning point that changed the fate of an empire. The destruction of 3 legions was a humiliation Rome never forgot. Augustus mourned the loss and punitive campaigns followed, but Rome never regained control east of the Rhine. The Rhine became the empire's permanent frontier, dividing Roman and Germanic worlds. West of the river, Roman culture flourished. East, Germanic tribes forged their own path. The battle's legacy shaped the future of Europe, ensuring the survival of distinct cultures and languages. Arminius's victory preserved Germanic independence and changed the course of history. The defeat marked the end of Rome's northern expansion. Teutoburg Forest became the birthplace of a new European order.